Okay, part 7, practice now. We're just practicing different styles of limits, and there's so many different kinds. Let's make this like we did the other day. If you go back and watch the video, I don't know if it was part 5 or 4, you can go back and look at it. I did one of these, but it had 5 different sections to it. So I'm going to make this bright pink, and I'll make, what color haven't we done yet? Like blue. Okay, for each little part of this. Let's do the green first, and I'm going to layer that I can erase now. So this says for negative, it behaves like negative x, which is a line that passes through. Remember, that's y equals negative x plus 0. That's all that is. So it behaves like that. So it passes through the origin, and then it has a negative slope, so it goes down 1 and over 1. And so we'll draw a straight line here. So it behaves like that for values less than, there we go, negative 1. For values less than negative 1. Now here's negative 1. I'm just going to call that negative 1 right there. So for values less than that, and not less than or equal to either. So for values less than that, I'm going to just kind of eyeball it here, about right like that. And this would be an open circle with an arrowhead. So that's what that means. For values less than on the x-axis, it behaves like this line. Now pink. At negative 1, it's equal to negative 2. Okay, so here's negative 2, and we have a big old solid pink dot there, and that's it. That's all it does. It becomes negative 2 when it's exactly equal to negative 1. And the blue one, it behaves like a parabola. It behaves like y equals x squared for values greater than negative 1. So if we graph this, that would pass through the origin because it's y equals x squared plus 0. And then this time, if we just leave our calculators alone for a second and make an xy table out of this, if I say this is, if I just do negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2, and make the old Algebra 1 t-table out of this, we can do this real fast. At negative 2, if I plug in negative 2 here and evaluate that, negative 2 squared is going to equal 4. If I plug in negative 1 squared is 1. 0 is, of course, going to be 0 squared, which is 0, thus the blue dot there. If I plug 1 in, 1 squared would be 1, and 2 squared would be 4. So we can see how this relationship happens here. So we're going to have a point at 1, 1. We're going to have a point. Now this actually isn't going to be a point here, but I'm going to need to kind of just eyeball test that because I'm going to make a parabola out of this. So I'll plot the points on the right side since it's going off, since its value is greater than negative 1. 2, negative 4, so there's 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to have a parabola that goes whoosh, like this, and it's going to come up here and stop. Now the rest of the parabola would look, like that, of course, if I continue to graph it, but it would be a huge mistake to put and fill in this green circle, okay? So that's actually a green and blue circle right there, an open circle, because this is not equal to. If that was equal to, then it would be a solid dot. And we would have another problem because we had another defined spot here, which would make this not a function because it would fail the vertical line test. But let's answer the question now. And now we have a beautiful graph of this. That's exactly what the graph looks like. And I didn't use a calculator. The limit of negative 1. Well, as this thing approaches negative 1 from the left, it would slide down this green line and approach 1. As it came to the right side, it would come up and also approach 1. So the limit of this would be 1. The limit of this function as it approaches 0 would just be equal to 0. This equals 0 because on the blue line, as I approach down through here towards 0, it's actually defined at 0. If you think about it, it's actually defined right there. It's a solid dot. And as I approach from this side, of course, the y value or the f of x value is going to also be 0. So this would also be true. I love this little piecewise graph because it makes you think differently about limits. Have a good one.